Hi, it's Steph, and I'm at Walmart. I needed a couple of things, and of course I popped into the garden center, so I'm going to share with you some things that they have. They have some garden phlox. This is a perennial, and these are some pretty good sized containers. They're 1.5 gallons for $12.98. It doesn't say the color, and they're not in bloom yet, so it'd be a little bit difficult to determine, but if you like a good surprise, these look really nice and healthy. If you want a hanging basket that gives you something to eat, check this out. They have some herb hanging baskets for $11.98, and they have some rosemary and some basil. Looks like some dill. Let's sniff it. Yep, some dill and some oregano. Really cool idea. A hanging basket herb garden. They have these beautiful dahlia annuals. They're almost like different shades of pink, like red and pink and peach. Really pretty. Let's see. These are an annual. They're $7.97. And it's kind of hard to tell the color with the lighting. Oh, there we go. So beautiful. They have quite a few of those. Sometimes I get some comments about how these garden centers aren't great about watering, but you'll be happy to know that they are doing a good job here in keeping everything nice and watered. There's some really pretty English lavender. This one is hardy to zone 5 or negative 20 degrees. It gets 10 to 12 inches tall and 12 to 14 inches wide. And this smells lovely. And these are $9.28. So we just looked at some English lavender, but they also have Spanish lavender. These are 14 to 18 inches tall and 12 to 16 inches wide, and they're $9.28. And these are a little bit taller and have a different bloom than the English lavender. They have some really pretty cannas, and these have beautiful dark foliage, but I want to bring something to your attention. My Walmart in Zone 6B in Massachusetts is advertising these as a perennial, and canna lilies are not perennial in our zone. Okay, so you want to make sure you pay attention to these tags. So see how it's listed as perennial for a canna lily? I'm in Zone 6B. So if you read a little closer, it says it's hardy to zone 8 or negative 10 degrees. So this would not be considered a perennial in my zone 6B. So make sure you pay attention to that. But these are beautiful for an annual in our area. They get 1.5 to 9 feet tall and 18 to 36 inches wide. Really pretty annual for a tropical container. And these are $7.48. And these actually already have blooms coming up. They also have some beautiful selections of hosta here at Walmart. Really beautiful foliage on these. I've only recently started getting more interested in hosta, so let's go ahead and see what varieties they have. This one is beautiful. It's a very vibrant, bright, like yellow chartreusey green with a creamy outer edge. This one is called Fragrant Bouquet. Let's see here. This one's called Fragrant Bouquet. It's hardy to zone 3, so really hardy. It needs 4 to 6 hours of sun. And it's $8.48 for this size container. It does not say how big it gets, so you definitely would want to Google this if you're limited on space to find out the dimensions for height and width. But this is a really beautiful one. They also have this really pretty one called Dream Queen. Again, it doesn't tell me the dimensions, but this one is hardy to zone 3 as well. This is a 2-quart container for $8.48. And check out the foliage on this one here called Dream Queen. How beautiful. This one is a darker green with that yellow chartreusey color in the center. Like, oh, actually it's more of a creamy yellow. It's got a few different shades. It's got the green that has that cast of blue, and then it has that yellow in the center with a little bit of a variation in the green. Really pretty. They have some more hostas in these smaller containers. These are 1.5 pint and they are $4.68. So half of the price of the bigger ones. And these things grow fast from what I understand, and they multiply quickly. So in a year or two, you'll be able to divide them. So if you find a variety you like in a smaller container, it might be worth your while to buy them that way. So let me go ahead and show you some of the varieties they have in the smaller containers. So they have the Fragrant Bouquet, which we just saw in a larger container. These are $4.68. And they also have them in this larger container, Fragrant Bouquet, for $8.48. So I'm actually going to pick one up in this smaller size for $4.68 of the same type, that Fragrant Bouquet. So here's some other varieties that they have in the $4.68 1.5 pint size. This Ario Marginata. Beautiful foliage on this one. They also have this one called August Moon. It's a smaller leaved chartreuse green hosta. And then there's this one that also seems to be a traditional type hosta with a smaller leaf, green with a white creamy white edge. This one's called Albo Marginata. So really good selection of hosta at Walmart at the moment. Last thing before we move on from the hosta, I noticed on this $8.48 size container, check this out. There's 2 plants in here. So you can divide this right out the container and end up with 2. Lots of shrubs and trees, so let's take a look at what they might have. Dappled willow. These need 4 to 6 hours of sun, so part sun, and they get 36 to 48 inches tall and 36 wide. They bloom in early spring, and the bloom is just this new foliage. Some yellow mops, a false lemon thread false cypress for $12.84. These like moist, well-drained soil, and they get to be 3 to 5 tall and 36 inches wide. You want to give these guys space. They can get pretty large. They have a really healthy looking Eastern Redbud for $29.74. These get 20 feet tall and about 15 wide, and the feature of this tree is that they have beautiful heart-shaped foliage. Really pretty. They have some Japanese maples for $24.94. This is a green variety Japanese maple. And let's see here. It's 15 to 25 feet tall and 15 to 25 feet wide. And here's the foliage on this one. They have some Althea trees or Rose of Sharon. This is a 4.5 gallon. It is pink and it's $39.97. Here's the size of the container, and it is not yet in bloom. You want to be cautious with these Rose of Sharons because sometimes they can be pretty invasive. They drop seed and then you'll end up with them all over your garden. If you like them, that's great. If not, you might just want to reconsider. They still have some fruit trees. A wine sap apple, $29.74. Looks like it's in really good shape. Nice healthy foliage. They have some privet for $22.88. It's a variegated privet, See how the tag says variegated privet? The foliage is not variegated. So just be aware, make sure that the tag kind of matches what you're looking at. Because if it's not variegated now, it's not going to turn variegated in the future. They have some of these first impression shrubs, the opening day viburnum for $22.88. These look really good. They have already bloomed, but the foliage looks nice and healthy. They have some beautiful peonies. This one is Carl Rosen Red. It's $24.98, and it's a 2-gallon container, and it has a bloom on it. They also have this beautiful pink one called Alexander Fleming. The fragrance on these is wonderful. This one is a Sarah Bernhardt. It's like a nice rounded fluffy peony. I have this one in my garden and it's gorgeous. Very prolific. Here's another dappled willow. They have really beautiful foliage. Really, really pretty shrub. Here's a weeping Yoshino cherry. So this is a really nice ornamental type tree that blooms in the spring. A really pretty white with a little tint of pink. It's $29.74. It likes moist, well-draining soil, 6+ hours of sun, and this one gets to be 12 to 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide. It's actually in really good shape and has a nice arching branches. Pretty round all the way around. When you look at trees in these garden centers, you want to just kind of look at it, spin the tree, and look at it from all angles to make sure that it has a nice shape before you purchase it. Because it can take some time for it to push out branches in other directions. So you want to make sure you're happy with it right from the get-go. They have some weeping willows for $29.74. These are absolutely beautiful specimen trees in your landscape. You need to have lots of space and they love water. They get to be about 40 tall and 40 wide, and they're $29.74. They have lots and lots of knockout roses on clearance. Also some drift roses. Let's take a look and I'll tell you what to look for in a good candidate of a clearance plant to take home. So this one here is a sunny knockout. So it's a creamy white and yellow knockout rose. And they were $9.96, but now they're marked down to $4.96. This is what it looks like. Okay. This one here would be an example of one I would not buy because it is very, very crispy and I don't think that there would be any sign of life in it. However, this one to the side of it still has a lot of green. So if it was cleaned up, pruned, watered regularly, and left in a shady spot for a week or so, it would probably recover beautifully and do well in your garden. So this is what you want to look for. When you're looking for a clearance plant, you want to make sure that there's still life left in it. You don't want to make the investment, no matter how little it is, if there's no chance of it thriving. So here's another one. These are the double pink knockout, and I have a bunch of these in my garden. They're absolutely beautiful. These get to be 3 to 4 tall and wide. And look, they're marked down to $4.96. And this one is still in okay shape. You can see there's lots of new growth coming onto the shrub. There and there. So these just need a little TLC, and for $5, you'll have a really hardy rose bush that will perform beautifully for you in the coming years. They also have some drift red for $4.96, and this one's still in really good shape. Look at all this green foliage. So these are excellent, excellent clearance plants. Roses are perennial, they come back every year, and these drift and knockouts are very hardy, so they would be a good investment to make. So these drift roses are low-lying roses. They're considered ground cover type roses. So they're more low-lying. So it says $9.92, that's how much it was. And this is the new markdown price, $4.96. So in my store here in Massachusetts, Zone 6B, they have some knockout and some drift roses on clearance for $4.96. See, and look at all this new foliage on this one. So These would be a great pickup for a new landscape, or even if you just want to add some roses. They have some May Night Salvia. This one is a great salvia. I actually have this one in my garden. It was the first one I added to my landscape. It gets 20 to 24 inches tall and wide, hardy to zone 4, $7.48 for this 2-quart size. Now I will tell you, they smell a little bit like cat urine, but if you're not sniffing them, they're fine. They're absolutely beautiful, and the bees love them. Even here at Walmart, the bees have found their food. They still have lots and lots of annuals. There's some marigolds and some really pretty hanging baskets. Let's see how much these are. These have Calibrachoa in them. Man, why can't I say that? Calibrachoa. And they're $16.97. I love these little orangey apricot type blooms with a darker center. Really beautiful. And this beautiful sea of lavender purple is Nepeta, or catmint. This is part of the mint family, so it does readily spread. And this one has a really nice fragrance. And these containers are $12.98. And they are 1.5 gallon in size, and they get 12 to 18 inches wide. No, I'm sorry, 12 to 15 inches tall and 24 inches wide. These are a beautiful, hardy landscape staple. And they have these drop and bloom buckets for $9.88. These would fit nicely in about an 8 or 10 inch container. They have some verbena and some petunias, and these are a great option if you don't want to put together your own summer containers. You can just buy these that already come pre-made and put them in your container. Here's some more with some Calibrachoa in them. These are like a smaller version of petunias, and they're really long blooming. Again, they're $9.88. This one had some lobelia in it, and even what looks to be some tick seed or coreopsis. This is a really beautiful Calibrachoa. It is this lavender with a darker purple center, a little bit of yellow in the throat, and it's $16.97. I've never seen these hydrangeas before. These are a lace cap hydrangea. This one's called Blueberries and Cream. And they have a strawberries and cream too. Let's check out the tag. Cold hardy to zone 6, 15 to 18 inches wide. So nice and compact, and it says that it's good for a container. And really beautiful color. It's coming across kind of purple, but it's like almost like it has a mix of purple and blue. These are $22.88. And here's the strawberries and cream in a really beautiful deep pink. They also have lots of gardening tools. If you can't get to the bigger box stores, there's typically a Walmart near most people. And here's what I'm leaving with today. I'm gonna get these two hostas, a smaller in the fragrant bouquet for $4.68 and a larger container in the Dream Queen for $8.48. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.